up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to the Warframe video. So, we have ridiculous, crazy AOE for you today. It's going to be utilizing a Helminth Invigoration on Ivara, and this build will work without a Helminth Invigoration, but I just want to show you, this is literally the biggest AOE of anything in the game. As far as weapons are concerned. And it does, a million damage slash procs once you're fully stacked up. So, let's get into it. I'm not going to go ahead and call it the most fun playstyle, but it is effective, at least for solo play, and for killing lots of enemies really, really fast. We're also utilizing some new arcanes from Echoes of Zariman, so yeah, it's going to be a full loadout guide today on this AOE Explosion Ivara. Before we get into it, though, make sure you're subbed to the channel and all that. We'll be live streaming a lot more on the live stream channel next month in July, so make sure you're checking that place out as well if you are interested in that. So the idea of this build is basically kill the entire room in one shot. Also, make it so the Acolyte can't fight back against you by utilizing Ensnare. Also, be perma-invis. And technically, if you are not playing solo, you can also make your teammates status immune. So, lots of things are going on here. We're utilizing two different augment mods for Ivara. One of them being Concentrated Arrow. What Concentrated Arrow is going to do is going to make your Ivara Artemis Bow go from firing off 7 arrows to firing off 1 big arrow. And if that big arrow gets a headshot, it makes a extremely large explosion, moddable by range. So the more range you have, the bigger the explosion becomes. Additionally, Prime Firestorm is going to give you even more range. The base range of the explosion of this concentrated arrow is 7 meters. Prime Firestorm is going to give you about 4 more meters. And then the rest you can mod by range. So with our setup here, which is, this is not normally possible, so just putting that out there, this is not normally possible. With our range invigoration for 100 extra range and 75% increased ability efficiency, we have a 26.6 meter explosion radius. That's not showing the Prime Firestorm additional 4, so it's about 30 plus meter radius on an explosion bow. This has guaranteed impact procs, which can be utilized with the internal bleeding mod for a 70% chance to slash proc the enemy. And this also is affected by power strength, how much damage this thing does. Even going further, we have Prowl, her third ability. The more power strength you have, the higher crit, headshot multiplier she will have. It's just a headshot multiplier. So we can snapshot power strength buffs to get really, really high crit damage increases with our Quiver augment. We have Empowered Quiver, which is going to give us increased crit damage while we're on a dash wire. It will also give us and our teammates status immunity if we stand in a cloaking bubble. And like I said, we are going maximum meme mode on the range here. This is the highest range you can possibly get in this game, no matter what you do. So, just taking a quick look at what we have here. We have a cloaking bubble of almost a 10 meter radius. We have a sleep arrow that has a 22.8 meter radius. We have a Cora and Snare that is a 38 meter radius, basically pulling the entire room into one spot and stunning enemies through walls, also stunning acolytes. We have a huge pickpocket radius of 15.2. This is not really the focus of this build, but it can technically give you some more loot. And like I said, the main focus here, the Mega Explosion Bow that kills everything that's possible. So, yeah, let's just go over what we have here. We'll get some more gameplay on the screen. And yeah, this build will work technically if you don't have a range invigoration. You're not going to kill literally everyone in the room. The gameplay footage you see on the screen right here is one of the biggest rooms I could find, and you won't kill this entire room, but as you can see, you are killing guys basically really, really far away. And if you want to go for a corrosive, it's pretty good against acolytes with our purely slash build here, but it's going to probably take 1 or 2 shots. Once you're fully stacked up, it should just be 1 shot, no problem. So, we're going to go over the build here. We're going to talk about the new arcane I'm using, which I think is actually really, really good for Ivara, and really good for lots of frames, actually, now that I think about it. It's going to be called Molt Augmented. So what Molt Augmented will do is it's a new one from Zariman, which came out with the Echoes of Zariman update. And yeah, this one's going to make it where every kill you get is going to give you 0.24 increased power strength. When you get 250 kills, it's going to be fully stacked up and give you 60% power strength for abilities. So what you want to do to get the most bang for your buck out of this on Ivara specifically is what you want to do is you want to kill 250. So go invis, and then start killing enemies. Kill 250 enemies. And once you're done doing that, that will give you all that power strength you wanted, and then you will recast your abilities, giving you that snapshot buff of higher power strength. That's going to mean you can have even more headshot multiplier from your 2, or your 3 rather, even more damage overall from your 4, And as you can see, with this, not even stacked up, one shot on Nox Eximus, which are some of the more annoying enemies in the game. 1,000,000 damage slash proc. Like I said, we're not stacked up, guys. I have 16 stacks. We're looking for 250 stacks. So, yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. And that's not even the main purpose of what we're doing here. There's the dash wire right there for increased crit damage. So, we're not even showing like half the buffs. So, I'm going to do a quick rundown on every buff we're using here. Just to show like how crazy it potentially can be, okay? So I'm going to rapid fire these off. So, buff number 1, Empowered Quiver. When we're on the dash wire, we get increased crit damage. So once we stack all that power strength, that crit damage is affected by power strength, it will give us even more. 255% crit damage when we're on a dash wire if it's fully stacked up. We've also got Arcane Rage. On headshot, 50% chance for 180% increased primary weapon damage for 24 seconds. This does work on Ivara's Artemis Bow. You technically could use Primary Charger, which is another one. It will give you more damage overall, but you need to remember to use a melee every like 12 seconds, which I did not ever remember, but this will give you 120% more damage than Rage, just be a little bit more annoying and tedious to remember. So that's a big chunk of damage there. All this power strength on here is actually influencing our headshot multiplier and our overall damage, in addition to crit damage, like I said. And then we are also using Matter Eye Focus School. Now, we're not using it for Void Strike. We're actually using it for increased power strength from Chain Sling. Actually, no, it's called Sling Strength. Switching to Warframe after a Chain Sling adds 40% power strength for 20 seconds. We have about 100 plus total power strength that's being added on to all the stuff we already have if we use these things properly. So what you want to do, and that's pretty much the only buffs we're using, to be honest. But we'll show the Artemis Bow build too, because this is technically not the highest damage build possible because I'm running Prime Firestorm. If you want a little bit more damage, you can slap on like Heavy Caliber in that slot. But for the purpose of this build, this is what we're using. The Augment Concentrated Arrow disables multi-shot, but multi-shot still does influence the damage you do. So yeah, so this is the slash build. Like I said, you can do a corrosive build, but let's just do a couple of the buffs right here. We've got 20 stacks, and I'm gonna do 2 Void Slings in a row with Matter Eye. And as you can see, that 40% right there, that's increased power strength. So that's when you cast your abilities. And since they are channeled abilities that last a while, you don't need to worry about recasting them. You'll keep that power strength the whole time. Now we're on our dash wire. It's pretty much over. Now, unfortunately, we cannot use Ensnare on the dash wire. That's when you need to jump up, cast it, then jump back on. But yeah, this guy's going to die even harder than before. So, yeah, not too bad, I'd say. Especially since we're missing a huge chunk of our power strength for our fully stacked up build. You know, a 925,000 AOE slash proc, I think I'm okay with that, personally. I don't know about you guys. I've seen multi-million with this, but, you know, I'm okay with that, I guess, lower slash proc, where it's not actually, like, mega damage, but it's good enough, all right? And this is, like, a practical application of it in Mission. Now, what you want to, when you place these dash wires to get that increased crit, you might want to put them kind of closer to the ground than I did, because you're going to want to absorb up that life support with whatever you're using. Like, I would definitely recommend the Artemis Bow for this, but I was trying out the Envoy, I was trying out Mark for Death. There's definitely ways you can do this, but yeah, this is really, really fun. And yeah, thankfully it won't get nerfed. It won't get nerfed because it's not even a weapon. It's Ivara. So yeah, it should go through the rift with a Limbo if everyone's playing Limbo still. And wow, I just got completely caught off guard by that invisibility. So yeah, if you don't have this Invigoration, you're probably going to want to run, like, so let's talk about this build if you were to not use the Invigoration, because you can't really pick Invigorations at all. Although, I would say this one is definitely worth it. That range is hilarious. 30-meter radius on explosion, just to put that in perspective, that's like over double the range of a Kuva Bramma shot with Prime Firestorm. That's huge. Like, that is gigantic, dude. So, just comparison's sake. So, one of the biggest AoEs in the game, Kuva Bramma. It's also a bow, technically. And we've got a 13.78 range on the explosion. So that is under half of our 30 on this bow. So, but yeah, if you don't have this, like the 75% efficiency is definitely helping us out to stay on top of our abilities. You could probably just take out Blind Rage. You'll be doing just about as much damage. You'll just have less range because you won't have 380, you'll have 280. But if you're running Molt Augmented, that's technically an ability power strength slot right there. So maybe take off Blind Rage for like, maybe even Transient Fortitude. We really don't care about duration for what we're doing. Now, duration is taken into account for the calculation of drain per second on Ivara's 3, but like seriously, whatever. It's not going to be too big of a deal. As long as you've got some power strength, you're going to be doing just fine with that. Because you want power strength for the increased crit on Empowered Quiver, and you also want it for the base damage of Artemis Bow. So those are things you might want to take into account. But yeah, this was working great. A little bit more efficiency here, a little bit more efficiency there. You don't need to underperform with this. This is complete overkill. Just use normal intensify. The way I was looking at it, I always use power strength on Ivara, so I thought it was appropriate here. And yeah, just going over some other things here before we call it. So Ivara actually does scale really well with power strength. But, you know, it's also like, how much are you really playing Ivara? I find her mostly as like a solo frame. I'll play her for some like spy missions over here and there, but she's actually slow in spy missions compared to like Wukong nowadays. So I don't know, I really don't play her as much, but this is one of the most fun builds. And like I said, if you want to use Primary Charger for technically more damage, you could just use the Glaive Prime. Use the Glaive Prime on top of your dash wire, throw the Glaive Prime at an enemy, blow them up. That's a 300% increased primary damage for like 12 seconds. It's a 30% chance to proc, but you're killing so many enemies per toss. It's that 30% to the proc. So yeah, hopefully you guys found this video helpful. Like I said, the range is overwhelmingly crazy. Like, it really is. And this build will kind of work without the Invigoration, just be a lot less effective. So I'll see you guys next time. Hopefully you found the video fun and helpful. I will be on Twitch later tonight. We're going to do a variety game after Warframe, which is, I think that's going to be the plan going forward. It's going to be Warframe into like whatever we end up playing. Like, I reinstalled Final Fantasy 14, might get back into that. I got some weird anime game I was playing on stream last night about like, I don't even know what it was about, but it was a lot of talking. It was a lot of dialogue. And like these anime girls could not walk through a single doorway without telling you the whole life story like 3 times over. So we'll see about that one. It was kind of fun and intriguing to an extent. But yeah, we also got Lost Ark. Might hop back into that. I finally got the boat in Lost Ark, so we'll see. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Biggest AOE possible. Big slash procs too. And yeah, take it easy. Peace.